Roger Verhey. We farm in southern Tippecanoe County. We raise corn, soybeans, and hay, and we also have a little bit of wheat. The one that we grow behind you is actually non-GMO waxy corn. It's designated for the North Plant, Tate and Lyle, and Lafayette. A lot of it goes to baby cereals, infant type foods, that type of food. Is mainly what it's used for. The regular other dead corn that's maybe a GMO based in the center of the other will actually be food for chickens, pigs, cattle, all that stuff that we end up consuming in a different form. All of our corn is driven processing at Tate and Lyle. We do use some to feed our own cattle, and that's about it. Yeah, so basically when you see corn standing in the field come September, November, October, them 3 months there, we start harvesting out. This is kind of the first step in getting it transported to where the end product's going to be. So we'll harvest the corn and go in the front of the combine, as you see the combine there, and we'll thrash the corn out and end up in the hopper. Obviously, when we get the hopper too full, and it ends up on top of the cab, and then the residue spit out the back to put back on the ground. We'll just out of the grate the fertilizer at some point. We'll then load it from the combine onto a grain cart. The grain cart will then load it onto the semi. Semi will take it, at this point, it's taking it back to on-farm storage that we have. And then we'll take miles ready to receive it for processing. Then we'll load back on that semi again and be transported on the tank. Well, it's quiet in there. Yeah, it's kind of nice to drive the combine because you planted the crop in the spring, you nursed the crop along, you fertilized the crop, you sprayed it to keep the weeds down, taking care of the crop, and here's your reward. Typically our paychecks are once a year, and this is the time that we reap the benefits. So you kind of like seeing what it does, and sometimes it's not that profitable, and sometimes it yields pretty well. Nice thing about that combine, you don't drive it. So the only thing we got to do is turn it on the ends. Once we turn it on the ends, as soon as we get back on our road, there's row feelers on the head, and we'll drive it down the road. We push the button, lower the head, at the same time it engages the auto steer. The combine will drive itself across the field. So with it driving across the thing, obviously there's GPS in there. So in there, at that combine, there's a monitor up in the corner that will read the yields that we're getting instantaneously, what's going on, the moisture that's going on, the field totals, all of that stuff. And then we can take all that stuff and it's uploaded to the satellite, and then I can get that on my computer at night and see exactly what the yield harvest data was and this, that, and the other. Then we'll overlay that yield harvest data over top of our fertilizer maps for when we plant next year to see where the good yield was, where the bad yield was, figure out what the problem was, maybe more fertilizer where it's good, bring it up a little bit where it's bad. Well, basically all of that. When I got the combine, you still had to drive it, you had a CB radio, there was no yield monitor whatsoever. You counted truckloads, waited on scale tickets to come in, and you added scale tickets up at night, guessed how many acres you had done, to truly figure out what the yield was, or you waited until you got the total field done, and then got the old calculator out and did it that way. This is the soybean head. So the head that's on the combine now is the corn head that's kind of got a snout that goes down individual rows. We can take that head off, and then you put this head on the front of it, pick this head up. This is a 40-foot draper head. It will cut beans 40 foot wide, so the beans are not necessarily in rows, so you cut more of a path at that point. As we did in the video, I kind of touched on it right there on cutting beans. Obviously, we let the bean head down, and it drives itself across the field once again on a 49 foot or 40 foot path. So we push the button, the head lowers, it drives itself across there. You watch the beans we fed into the center of the thing, right through the machine. There again, beans in the hopper, residue out the back. As we go across the field, we'll dump on the go, and we'll probably got a little video of that, dumping the beans on the go. I didn't get too much of the corn on the go, but we dump typically into the grain cart while we're going across the field. This allows us to get done a little quicker, more efficiently. So we dump it on the grain cart takes it to the truck. That way the combine keeps moving all day long. The application for soybeans, we've got regular soybeans, which are usually hauled to a processor, made into meal, or pig feed, and that type of stuff. We do another one, high oleic soybean, that's a low trans fat oil, so they crush the oil out of it, use the meal left for feeding livestock, and then the oil processed as a lower trans fat for cooking oils and maybe oil in your popcorn bag and microwaves, that type of thing. So, no, I'm glad you guys are doing it. I mean, past, we've been able to take a tractor to town. That's kind of neat. We can do it this way. We can bring you something a little bit bigger that we can't get down. Usually I've got a Farm Bureau hat on, Tippecanoe County Farm Bureau president too, and that's who we typically